Hi guys, welcome to my makeup channel in a new room, a new area, my makeup slash study beauty studio. I am so glad to be here and film this for you guys. Happy Valentine's Day, happy belated Valentine's Day. I know today in Australia, Canberra, Australia, get that right, it is 2 days late, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. The point is, celebrate Valentine's Day when you can, because it's special. So it doesn't have to be exactly on the day. I certainly didn't celebrate it on the day. I've come up with this pink Valentine's Day look, which is sort of like watermelon slash plum colors. Hope you enjoy this tutorial as much as I enjoyed filming for you. And yes, you may notice that this earring here has 3 love hearts. This has 2. My husband stole my heart. But anyway, let's get straight into it. Hello. Now initially I was going to do a video before and I had it as ready as I thought it could be, and then my battery died and I was really upset about that. So I just continued to do the makeup look and I went out with a full face of makeup, which I wasn't able to film. So anyway, I'm starting from scratch with a new look today. I have this idea of Valentine's Day in my mind, so I just had a couple of, you know, eye looks that I wanted to do and, you know, play around with different colors. So different red colors anyway, red and purples is what I'm kind of going for. So I'm using the Morphe 35M palette. As you can see already, this eye has been done, so I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to do this eye the same on the other eye. That sounds so wrong, but anyway, I know what I'm trying to say. And I was going to add lashes, and I think I just got too excited, so I just started to go without lashes. Anyway, here we are. So I've already primed my eyes, just so you know. I want to focus on the eyes first, and then I'll continue with the face. And as you can see, I've already done my eyebrows. So if you want to go ahead and do your eyebrows and prime your eyes, then that would be great. As this is a chit chat, get ready with me, so get ready as we go along. And you can use whatever concealer you've got or eye base, and then set it with a translucent transparent powder. I used my NYX eye base cream, and then on top I just basically used one of my yellowish brown powders that work really good on my eyes from a contour palette. So anyway, you can go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to start off with using my unicorn brush, and this is a really good brush for a crease, and that's what we're going to start with. So if you don't know what a crease is, I'm just talking to you guys who are beginners who may have never done this before. A crease is the part above your lid. It seems to be like a dip. For me, I've got hooded eyes, so you may not be able to see that, but it's usually in between your eyelid and your eyebrow, but not directly under your eyebrow. It's halfway. So when I close my eyes, you'll probably be able to tell if you cut it in half. That sounds really wrong as well, but if you divide it in half, then you will see that that is the crease, and that's where we're going to apply the first transition color. So I'm really silly. This Morphe palette actually came with one of those transparent papers which gives you all the names, and I have been cleaning up the house, so I lost it. Next time I get one, I'll make sure that I keep that film with me, because at least then I know what color I'm using and you guys know what color I'm using. So we're going to start off with this red shade here. To me, it's like a watermelon shade, so it's quite a dark pink. That's the best way for me to describe it. So I'm going to use my Flamingo palette as a mirror today, trying to use other products for mirrors, because when I've had mirrors in front of me in the past, it's just been I don't know, a pain in the butt. It's just been in the way and I don't want to deal with that. So already you can see that I'm starting to place this color on my crease area and making sure that I swipe back and forth. Oh, and also holding my brush quite far away from the bristles so I have less control. But less control is good because it means that you know, your colors won't be so harsh when you apply them, which means less blending to, you know, make your eye color work together and the colors to blend together. I hope that makes a lot of sense. It does in time when you do it heaps of times, but when explaining it to people, it can be a little bit difficult to do that. I know I'm not the world's best communicator, but I'm working on it. So explaining is definitely a thing I want to be better at. So I hope you guys have had a really great week. Valentine's week, I think, is very special, even if it's something that you're not heavily drawn to in the way that you don't celebrate, well, you don't feel like, it's not Christmas, no, it's just a time where you share your love with those around you, and it doesn't even have to be a partner, a boyfriend, a girlfriend. It could just be just the people who make you feel really good, which I think is definitely more important than getting a secret admirer card, not knowing who it's from, and then they get you flowers. And personally for me, I'm not a flower person. So in the past when I've received flowers from people, it hasn't really, to me, shouted romance. It's been more, oh great, we're celebrating Valentine's Day, but already flowers is not my thing. So, okay, I'm not 100% a chocolate person either. For my husband and I, we went out to dinner, and we were actually, sorry, we didn't go out to dinner, we went out to lunch today. Yes, it's not Valentine's Day today, but on the day that it was Valentine's Day, we were so tired from work that we just decided that we would push our celebration to the next day, so we could do the things that we actually wanted to do. And I don't know how you guys think or feel about that, but you know, each to their own. Whatever way you want to celebrate Valentine's Day, it's got to be something that makes you feel happy, or any occasion for that matter. Alright, I'm going to be using the Morphe palette again, and this time I'm going to deepen the crease. Now, deepen the crease basically means use a darker color to show a bit of you know, a dimension. So from light to dark, I'm going to go and use this shade here, which is a darker pink shade. I don't really know what it's called, sorry, again, my fault for losing that film that has all the names on it, but I am explaining to you that I'm just going to place this slightly below the crease shade and then bring it to the middle, so still swiping back and forth, and then down to the edge of my eyelid, and that's like the outer corner, the outer area. Yeah, so going back to Valentine's Day, our day was today, and my husband gave me a card, which was really lovely. Thank God it wasn't flowers. But you know, maybe flowers is your jam. I'm not saying that I don't agree with that. It's just that it's not something I like. You know, when you celebrate something, you want to be able to get something that you like. That's what I think anyway. That's where my head is going. Okay, so I deepen the crease even more But this time, this is me focusing on the outer corner area. I know I'm blabbing because I'm like talking about Valentine's Day and I'm talking about my eyes. I don't want you guys to miss out on instructions, so that's why I'm trying to make sure I do both. Back into my palette again, this time using this shade here, which is like a deep plum shade. Oh, by the way, I used different brushes for each one. So the first time was the unicorn one, then the next one was the 227 Luxe Soft Definer brush, and now I'm using the Zoeva, what do you call this brush? Oh, it's another Luxe Soft Definer brush, 227. Same number again. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But this time, I am going to focus this in the middle, but then also place this in the V shape of my eye. So I need a little bit more of that because that is not showing up. And we want it to. So again, we can see dimension. That's really important stuff. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys is I've recently got a new job and it's awesome. I really do love it. Like any job, of course, you will always have your ups and downs and things that don't always go the way you want it, and yesterday was one of those days where things were just a little bit pear-shaped. So if you can see, I'm just placing this on the corner. So like patting it and then bringing it up to the middle of my, oh, there we go. Problem is I'm not sure how dark that will show up, so hopefully it won't be so bad, or not bad, but like too much. So you just constantly blend for it to go the way you want it to. Yeah, so yesterday was one of those days where my job was like up and down. It's not really useful for me to talk about now because I've already blabbed about it quite enough. But what I do want to say is that I'm looking forward to a lot of changes and looking forward to making things work better. And if you know me really well, then you'll know that I love getting into self-enrichment, books, podcasts, just basically anything that's to do with making things better and not sitting in the dark and thinking to myself, what do I do with myself? You know what I mean? There are some people out there who just go, woe is me, and I'm not going to fix anything because my life is always going to be dreadful and never meaningful, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not really, I can't think like that because I know for a fact that life has its ups and downs, but I have to see things getting better. So that's what I focus on, and therefore I've been watching podcasts from people like Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins. Just gonna stop there before I continue. Just used my Superstay concealer in the shade medium beige, which is number 3, and I used a flat brush to basically place on that concealer. While that's drying a little bit, I'm going to keep telling you about, you know, my self-enrichment stuff. So Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Evan Michael, Oprah Winfrey, basically people who see the world changing for the good. So when there are problems, which there are many, I will not disguise that fact because that's the world we live in, but it's finding a way to make things better rather than sticking to the worst things in the world and just sitting back and going, I can't do anything about this, because you can. Every little bit helps, and I truly believe that whenever you do something and push towards improvement, that makes you and your life so much better. Okay, going in with this shimmery, I'm gonna call it the melon shade, because it's similar to the first one I used. It's just that that was matte and this one isn't. That's what I think anyway, but it could be slightly darker in color or lighter. I hope that I'm not making this difficult for you guys to understand, but anyway, that shade in there is really pretty, so I'm just going to place that on the beginning of my eye. So I found with this one, it could be the brush as well, I needed to use a lot of that eyeshadow to show up on my eyelid. So yeah, self-improvement to me is important in every way, and I feel like it doesn't stop at any time. So whenever you think to yourself, this is the best I can be, I can't change, I think that's when problems begin, because of course you are your own person. I'm not saying that, you know, you have to be someone else, like that's not what I'm saying, but what I am saying is that if you know that yourself can be a better self, then why not work on that? I'm going to be using this purple shade up here, the top one. I really liked using that in the middle of my eyelid. Ouch, just squished my skin. And then yeah, I used my finger for that part because I felt like didn't really have the right brush to apply that. And plus, I find that the colours show up a lot better with my finger anyway, so that's where I'm coming from with this. I'm so glad I'm doing a tutorial, trust me. I was telling Greg yesterday after my bad day, I cannot wait to get home and do a tutorial this weekend. Even if it's just one day in the week, it's better than nothing. This shade here is a shimmery grey shade. It's very dark grey. I'm going to be using that on the outer part of my eyelid. So still staying on my eyelid. This has taken me a while to sort of get to that point. And also be okay with the fact that sometimes you don't even have a great makeup day. It doesn't always go the way you want it sometimes, and that's, you know, nothing that, how do I say this? It's frustrating, trust me, it's frustrating. But it's not to say that you're not good at makeup, it's just you're having one of those days and it happens. I'm gonna put eyeliner on because I don't like to do it on camera. It's very hard for me to, because I can't see very well without my glasses on anyway. I'm sort of juggling with a mirror and then making sure that you guys see my eye so that I don't poke it out with the eyeliner, and it's just a big fat mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that, and I'm gonna apply lashes, and I will be back. Lashes are on, so I'm gonna get straight into my face because I've been waiting to do that for a little while. I'm going to be using a new primer that I recently got, which is the Ultra Face Base Primer. It is a 24-hour makeup protection, which, hey, that sounds pretty amazing. And this is going to be used under my foundation today. So I'm just going to apply that in my bigger pore areas. Excuse me, that was really rude. I had a mirror, now where did that go? I'm using a lot of palettes that have mirrors at the moment to apply my makeup. It's very different, I know, but it works. So I'm just going to be placing that on places like my forehead, my cheeks, a little bit on my nose. Actually, my nose has a fair bit of pore area. And that has a little bit of a smell. It's nothing you know, strong. It's very light. Trying to think of what it smells like. I'll just apply this first and then I'll smell it again and sort of figure out what it is. So my forehead, a bit on my cheeks, my nose and my chin. That seem to be my areas that have a fair bit of pore surface. And this really applies very light. It comes out a little bit gluggy, but compared to the primer that I use, the Ox hydration primer, this one is not as gluggy. It does smell like that primer, the Ox primer. It smells the same, but not as strong. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, if you ever get that Ox primer, they have a similar smell, and I've just dropped the film for this palette. It's one of those moments. Okay, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different, where I'm applying moisturizer on one side, sorry, corrector on one side, and foundation on the other, because I was talking to my husband the other day and he said to me, I think one is different to the other. So I'm going to test that theory today and see if the medium corrector is different to the Senegence Tan foundation. So there might be a difference in colour as well, but I think the most important thing is how makeup applies on it and stuff like that. That's, to me, a more important thing than colour right now, anyway. We're going to start off with medium primer on this side of the face. So I'm just squirting a little bit on my wet beauty blender, so make sure that your beauty blender is damp. It's a lot easier to apply makeup when your beauty blender is damp than when it's dry, because it expands, and of course it's a lot easier to apply. It makes my skin look smoother than this side. I like the smell of the corrector as well. It's hard to explain though. Oh gosh, it's like a flowery smell. Maybe my orchids or something. And then on this side I'm going to use my foundation with a brush. Any of these are great to cover the whole surface of your face again. So it's a Tan Makes Sense foundation. I'm going to be placing that on the brush itself and yeah, applying that on the other side of my face. With my flaws, apologies about my mirror getting in the way. I find it very strange to apply foundation with a brush, but it's not breaking me out or anything. Now you've got corrector on this side and you've got foundation on this side. Do we see any differences? Looking at it in the mirror, not a massive change. I really don't see many differences. Maybe in this area though, I'm seeing a lot of like scarring from the past, but it's not, you know, it's not the same on the other side, so it's hard for me to see that. I might do another video like this where I can see it better, because I think I need repetition. When I do things over and over again, I sort of see things and notice them a little bit more different. So if you guys notice a difference, then please tell me as well, because that will really help. But anyway, I'm going to set it all with a powder, because that has really helped my makeup stay in place. Every time I've used powder, it's been really helpful. Anyway, I'm going to be using this brush here, which is a BYS brush, as it was in that section in the shops. That's what I'm going to be using to, ooh, careful. I'm having a moment where all my brushes are going to fall. Placing this on, yeah, 4 points of my face. I find that if I don't close my eyes when I'm applying this, it goes in my eye, and it's not painful. It's just irritating. Like, you've gone to all that effort of applying your makeup. Belated Palette, which is the Profusion makeup, and it comes with a brush, which is really handy, and I use that for my contour, and therefore I'm going to be using this shade here, which is called Deep Sculpt, and that's kind of how I start off my contour, is by placing this on the cheekbones. So when you get your lips together, you make that fish look. It certainly gives you an idea of where to place this. So I find it's just a little bit above my ear. So see where this ends at the bottom? It's a little bit above that. Cheekbones that have, if you wanted to emphasize them a little bit more. So I'm just going to do the same on the other side as well. My husband was telling me that his brother has gone to see Nickelback, and I think that's really cool, pretty amazing to be going to see that. I think it's in Melbourne at the moment. Maybe you guys know or have heard about it. We don't have any cool music trips like that organised yet. Greg's parents have gone to see the Chocolate Factory musical, which I think is in Sydney. So they're all like, Greg's family is like all doing amazing stuff this weekend, whereas my husband and I have decided that we're just gonna stay at home and just veg. That's us this weekend. It's been a long week. But in saying that, we're planning to go to New Zealand this year before Christmas, so in November. And to me, that's pretty exciting because I have been to New Zealand before. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just gonna say, using the medium contour basically to give my cheeks a bit more colour and help blend out that contour. So we're going to New Zealand in November, which gives us a chance to see the family again, travel a little bit more. My dad was from New Zealand, so to me it's a pretty special place and a great way to see what his life was like. And I say was like as in past tense because he passed away 3 or 4 years ago. I don't really know the exact number because I don't like to think about it that much, about when it happened, but I loved him to bits and I still miss him. So yeah, we're gonna plan to go to New Zealand, and what else? Oh, have Christmas in Batlow, the family. Oh, we actually have a couple of things planned. What was it? May? No. Yes, 11th of May. Greg's cousin is having a special hangout because her and her man eloped to get married, and it'll be nice to see Greg's side of the family. So we're going to go up there for the weekend. Followed by that, well, before that actually, sorry, March. So March and then May and then November. So 3 pretty exciting things happening. March we're going to go to Batlow and sort out a couple of things, like Greg really needs a passport. So that is, to me, a really important thing. I really hope he gets that done, because then once he gets it done, obviously it's going to make it so much easier for us to go to New Zealand and not have to worry about citizenship and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it's good to have a passport. I have 3, so it's always good to have that stuff organised. Alright, now I'm going to apply blush. I'm not going to show you because my blushes are in a pan at the moment, and they're definitely at a stage where they would make a massive mess on the floor if I picked them up. So I'm not going to do that. But I just tend to just place this in the apples of my cheeks and then sort of bring them up. It's a Valentine's look, so if it's a little bit overrated with your pink, it doesn't matter, because it's not like you do this all the time. And if you do this all the time, it doesn't matter either. It's a choice. And I love it. I love colour, so I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great. I'm going to apply with my fan brush. Hopefully I know what that is. Yep, it's here. This one's actually the Bretman Rock brush, and that came with the Bretman Rock highlighters. And I've just been using it with other highlighters. I mean, why not? When you want to just put a highlight on, why can't you just use the same brush for all highlighters? It works for me, so that's what I do. So the higher cheekbones is where I'm applying this. Sort of wondering what I'm going to do on that under eye as well. Oh, I didn't tell you what highlighter it was. Give me a second and I'll tell you. It's very pink. Don't worry, I'm not going to wear this blue shirt all the time. It's comfortable. I've used the lit the lit highlighter in this Sculpt and Glow palette, again with Profusion, because that's really working for me. I'm just going to use my beauty blender, the wet one, just to sort of set everything in place even more, because when you see powder sometimes it looks quite patchy. So I find using my beauty blender makes it look like it is part of your skin rather than just placed on the surface. It looks better that way. Okay. So I am don't really have an idea of what I want to do under my eyes. I find that part always tricky because I kind of like leaving it as it is. It's probably a bit weird, but I do. Here I've got an angled one and a pencil brush, and I'm going to be using that in my waterline and under eye area when I find my palette. It's there somewhere. Oh, bugger. Okay. Oh, come on, let's do this. So I'm going to start off with my angled brush when it all decides to just sit in one place. Now I have to use my mirror. What a difficult life this is. Okay. I'm using my Morphe palette again. Ta-da! And this time I'm going to be placing it's a really dark purple shade in my waterline. Sorry, it was a dark pink shade, wasn't it? Ooh. It's okay. So for those of you who can, I admire you so much. Because I can't. I've tried. Okay, I'm going to be using my pencil brush and using this shade here. Because it's a bit thicker and fluffier, I'm just going to be basically blending it out with this initial shade, which I call the watermelon shade. That was my initial crease shade. I said that word too many times for my own book. Placing that underneath that waterline, which means I can do my lower lashes. Oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you. So I have been using this mascara for my eyes today, which is the Make Mascara Revolution. I think it's doing really well. Sort of when I looked at it the first time, can you get off my shirt please? It looks like this. So it's pretty thick looking. It's a big brush. And when I first used it, I thought, oh no, it's going to be like gluggy and clumpy on my lashes. But no problems. It's actually really good. And even on my lower lashes, like right now, I'm not I'm not disappointed with it. It's good. I don't know if it's waterproof though, so I can't tell you that one. Oh, come on. My lips are feeling a bit dry, so I cannot wait to put something on them. That will be good. Yeah, so Revolution mascara. You should get it. I like it. It's good. Alright, lipstick. So I have these 3 shades of lipstick from, what are they? Maybelline New York, sorry. Well, first of all, they were on sale. $13 down to $8 each in Big W. And I thought, wow, that's okay. So I decided to get 3 because I like the best of 3 in shade 205. It's not pink, but it's sparkly nude, and it will work with this eye color because this eye color is already really bright. This is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'm really glad that I got to film for you guys because on Friday I was pretty desperate. I'd had a bad day at work. I was not feeling myself, a little bit grumpy. So to actually be able to film today was definitely something that I needed, and connect with you guys. I know that I started this star sign series and then it's sort of been pushed back, and it's my fault. I get it, it's my fault. But I will keep going with that. My mom's calling. I will see you guys soon. Bye now.